Come on, you can do this. Okay, it's redirecting to Facebook page. That's awesome. Okay, I believe I have to put it on mute and then we're gonna go. Now I look really silly on that picture. Don't you like that? You're like, you're trying to like focus and all you look like is like this crazy person.
Hey, okay. Look, you're live. Okay, there we go.
All right, and we hear me, so we're good. And I'm gonna click that so I can see the comments. Oh, this is so awesome. We're live. Hello, everyone. And I'm gonna show you in a second, Becky, so that you we hear me, so we're good. Okay, good, and there you go. Oh, that's really loud. Okay.
All right. It's fun.
It is. How do I like put two windows together? So hold on, so that we are both side by side. Gallery view. There you go. Hi.
Nice.
And now I'm gonna go over to Facebook so I can see who's commenting.
Right.
Okay. I've missed this so many times in Facebook. It's like unbelievable. And is there
I'm gonna actually start tagging people on that thread to invite them all.
Okay. Can you tag Adila Marcy? I think he wanted to be on.
Yes.
Okay. Exit Yahoo.
I'm just gonna keep going.
Okay.
Hi, whoever's watching us.
Awesome. It's so good to see everyone. Let me see that. Hopefully this works. Awesome. Okay. I've had such issues with this stuff before.
It's all good. We've got it handled.
It's all good. I see you. Awesome. Awesome. Sweet. We're really good to go. Hopefully this works. Okay. And I just got to turn that off again and we're good to go. Woohoo! Woohoo! So it's awesome.
So, oh, look, Adel's here. Hi, everybody. We made it live.
Awesome. I'm so excited. I think it's so good to see everyone I haven't been in this group for such a long time.
I know. What's up with that?
Hi. Yeah, I know. I was taking a break from what do you call it, from Facebook group and really trying to do things outside of it. Hi, Adil. It's nice to see you. You know, I met him, I went to see him in London. It was crazy. It was amazing.
Adil rocks. He's the bomb.
He is, and I actually learned that he can cook really well. I'm kind of jealous. Yeah.
Now I am jealous.
Yeah, he cooked for me, and I was like, wow, that's awesome. So, all right, who's on, guys? All right, we have 7 people on, so hello.
I'm just going to keep tagging everybody. So, hi, everybody. I'm Becky. This is my group. You don't often see me not in the bathrobe, but hi. And I brought my friend Natalie today because she's amazing. Ooh, Alexis is here. And we've got some good shit to talk about. We have some really good shit to talk about.
I am so excited to talk about this particular topic.
So what I asked Natalie to join us for today was to talk about the four biggest mistakes that business owners make that keep them stuck, not at their earning potential, even though they have the business strategy and they're doing all the right things. And for those of you who don't know, Natalie is fucking incredible. Natalie is a master manifester. Natalie has had this gift, I think, her whole life, and finally admitted it and leveraged the hell out of it within the last couple of years. I'm very proud to say that I had the honor of coaching her at one point a few years ago. And it's just amazing.
I feel so red now.
You're beautiful. We love you.
You know, it's really amazing, like, because when I hired you to work with me, you were my first business coach when I went into my business full time. And, you know, people say, oh, it's a crazy investment. And I've thought that so many times, but, you know, I'm so glad that I did that. And I learned so much. And, you know, it's not just those 3 months. It's like everything that came after and those relationships. And it's an evolution. And I didn't get my confidence right away. I made a lot of mistakes. But you know what? Like, that investment is not something that I've ever regretted.
No.
It came from, and I am so touched that you would have me on today. It's kind of like, oh my God, I've made it.
I love you. I think you're incredible. You're one of my biggest success stories. You are a woman, and I'll get a little preachy, but just for a minute. You are a woman who made a decision that you wanted to build a solid foundation. You were not fucking around, and you were all in. And those are my people, right? Those are clearly my people. Was it a crazy investment? I don't think so. I've paid more than 10 times what you've paid me for a smaller amount of time. So
No, and you know what? As long as the investments come from a place of you're making a decision and you know that this is the right step, it doesn't matter what results you're getting, really, like, because it's not about that. It's about moving forward. And sometimes you're going to get the results, sometimes you're not. So, like,
well, even if you don't get them,
you're going to get something else.
Even if you don't get them in the time frame that you're working with the coach, they're the foundation that you build everything else on, and that's critical mass. But anyway, we can talk about that anytime. Tell these amazing people what you're here to tell them. Let's talk about these 4 mistakes.
All right, so I just kind of wanted to introduce the 4 mistakes. I've been working with different coaches and I'm an action taker, like Becky will know that. Like, I work my ass off, right? And you can still do all of these business tactics, all these business strategies, and you can still get stuck in making just enough. And that's where I was. And I got to a point where I hit this wall, right? I probably last August, and it took me 8 months to admit that I was hitting a wall, right? Thanks to Adil, actually. Adil was like, Natalie, you're hitting a wall. And when I hit that wall, I was like, wait a minute, I'm not doing something. I'm stuck and I can't see my way out of it. It's one thing to work with clients and to see what's going on for them and to see where they're stuck and help them move forward. And I understood it, but there was something else to actually live it. And so what I wanted to share today is kind of share a bit of my personal experience of the 4 massive mistakes that I made that really kept me stuck, but also keeps my clients stuck. And I see it all the time. I see these mistakes being done across the board. And I understood manifesting. And every time I go through this, I'm like, oh my God, there's so many things I did not know. And that's because you just can't know because you haven't lived it yet. You haven't had the experience. And now that I have, I'm so psyched about sharing it. It's because it's become a personal message now.
I love it.
Like, yeah. All right. So you want to know the first one?
Yeah.
Right. It's assuming that you're in the driver's seat, that you've made a decision. Right. So here we're driving along, we're building our businesses. We are so gung ho. We've made the decision to start and you've made some progress, right? You got to just enough. And now you're assuming that you know where you're going and you're kind of half in the driver's seat, but you're not because you haven't really decided on the end goal. You haven't decided that you really want those 10K months. So there's 20K months. So there's 30K months. And so what happens is you end up this place of, oh, is this going to work or is this not going to work? And those are the times when you're taking like 3 steps forward and like 5 steps back and you keep doing this dance because you haven't really decided. And it's kind of like me saying, hey, I'm going to get in my car. I'm going to drive to Becky. And Becky lives like 5 hours from here. But I kind of want to, and I would really love to, but I haven't really decided. I haven't even checked it out with her. And I never get in the car and actually do it. And that's kind of what happens with a lot of entrepreneurs that get stuck. And the weird thing is that entrepreneurs will think that they are in the driver's seat, right? They're totally committed to their end game and they're just not. Like, we just don't see it, right? And that happened to me over and over and over again in my business. I thought I was there. And sometimes you have to course correct. And the other thing that happens a lot of times with people that are in the driver's seat is that they're actually picking a destination that they don't want. Maybe that they were doing something in their business and it all felt really good. And like, for example, I started off with doing like 3-month packages and it felt really good at the time, but I tried to hold on to it for dear life instead of saying, hey, wait a minute, what do I want now? What's my new dream? What's my new vision? And how do I move myself forward from here? And at the end of the day, it's about making sure that where you want to go is where you want to go. And that's not an easy thing to do because there's resistance to that, right? Like, if you really become successful, that means letting go of the struggle. Do you really want to let go of the struggle, right? Like, there's something really beautiful in the struggle. You won't have to change your life.
We want what's familiar. If struggle is familiar, it will be very uncomfortable if it's easy. And how many people have you just had conversations with, never mind clients, where they go, that's too easy. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Right. And easy is like wrong. And I remember the first time that it was easy in my business, it was August 21st. I'll never forget that day 2 years ago. And I don't know what date it is today. It's close to that date. Close. And I was in the morning and I was having one of those like breakdown moments. And I was doing my mindset practice and I was like, this is really hard. And I'd made my investment back with you at that point, but I was still like, how do I move forward from here? Like, I still have bills to pay and I was crying and I declared it to the universe, like, I'm demanding $500 today. And I just like put it out there and I don't care what I have to do. And I made $600 that day. And I remember it was like 8 p.m. and I put out my offer, and you took it actually, and you spread the word. And I was like, there's no way I'm making money today. And I came back and I was like, holy crap. That was what you call an irresistible offer.
Yeah.
But more than that, over the next 3 weeks, I made 12,000. Like, what the hell was up with that? And it was like the gods had lined up and the money taps had turned on, and it was easy. And, you know, that was my first hint that making money in your business could be easy. And then I wanted to know, how do you get back to it? And can it be easy all the time? And my proof was, I look at people like yourself, like Jen Scalia, and there's so many different people. And every time they hit that zone, it's easy. And if it's easy for them, that means it's possible for me at some level. And I kind of made a vow to understand why and how could I get back there. And I wanted to do it for myself, right? That's cool. But I also wanted to teach it. I wanted to understand it. I think the universe sent me that in terms of bunny blocks, like experiences. But now that I'm on the other side of it, I can see clearly that what I was asking for, the universe gave me exactly what I was asking for. I wanted to understand, and I didn't want it just to be theory. I wanted to be able to teach it. I wanted to live it. And now that I'm here, I'm like, yeah, I get it now.
And right? The baby was like, oh, you want to know? Okay.
Here's money blocks, right? And I hit every single money block under the sun.
And now you're an expert.
Right? And so here's the thing, when you're in the driver's seat and you don't consciously select where you're going to go, your unconscious is going to like pick up and create all these things that you just don't even realize that you want, right? And so you got to be careful with that. So at least exercise your choice to get into the driver's seat and make a decision. And it really starts with that. You know, the thing about decisions that's funny is that often people will say they don't have the money. And really what it boils down to is that they haven't made that decision to really change their life.
Yeah.
And, you know, I remember before I started my business full time, about 18 months, I was going to get, I was sitting in Theta Healing class, my very first Theta Healing class. And I'm talking to the guy next to me and I'm saying, hey, you know, 25,000 to go get trained in Theta Healing, like that's crazy. Who would do that? And who has that kind of money? Like, no, fucking, no, sorry, I shouldn't swear.
Are you kidding? You're in the entrepreneur incubator. Come on.
I'm like, it took me a long time to clean up my language after CCC.
Oh, there's no point in cleaning up your language. Sorry.
So, okay. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, who would fucking do this? It's $25,000. Plus you have to take the time off. And then my teacher walks in and he takes us through meditation. And I don't know, like 5 minutes later, I'm like, I'm learning this modality. I'm going to do this.
Write the check. Sign me up.
And I was like, I didn't know how, I didn't know when, but all of those beliefs went away, right? And the universe lined up. I did the worst. I made a decision that this was going to happen. And I knew it. There was no doubt. There was that was the driver's seat. And, you know, marketing, there's a lot of things about marketing that we learn that like should work or shouldn't work. What I did for marketing for that to teach Theta Healing, like was a little blog post on Craigslist. It was like the most awful thing you've ever seen, right? Like,
but it worked.
It worked. I ended up with 40 students over 8 months. Do you know when I stopped getting students? When I got trained, finished my $25,000, didn't need the money anymore. Then I was doing the same thing, and then I wasn't clear anymore. Did I really want to teach Theta Healing? What did I want to go to the other side? I hadn't made that decision. And so instead of like pushing back, I let the universe drive me. As I thought, I was sitting in the driver's seat going, I really want to teach Theta Healing. But it wasn't there for me. And so for a year, I did exactly the same thing and manifested 3 students.
Bring your mic up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yep. A little, yeah, better.
Okay, so that's really the first mistake. Does that make sense to anybody? Anybody can resonate with not being in the driver's seat, even though they might think they are?
I'm looking right now to see if we have any updated comments.
Okay, I'm assuming you'll let me know.
Of course. Beth says, love this. Catherine says, hi.
Hi, Catherine.
Hannah says, hey. Adel's here. He says, fuck yeah.
So funny.
Here. Who else is on here? Say hello, guys. Give us some emojis. Let us know.
All right. So do you guys want to know how to get into the driver's seat to make sure that you're in it? First of all, you got to be clear about what you want and why you want it. It sounds so silly, right? Like it's so basic. But what do you want and why do you want it? And generally speaking, that has to be tied to your bigger dream. Like, where are you going? Most of the time, people will say, well, I want 10,000. And it comes from a place of fear. But you can't manifest from a place of fear. You got to do it from a place of true desire, from a heart's desire. So it's super important to get back to, why do you want it? Why do you want those 10K months? Is it because everybody else is doing it, or is it because you actually want them? And by the way, I did that exercise of what I actually want, and it wasn't 10K, it was $47,000 a month to live the life that I want. So, and that was way more exciting to me than going with the 10K month, right? Because I was.
Do you find that a lot with your clients? And I talk about this quite a bit. I'm interested to see what happens with you. They think they know what they're after, but they never really get specific, and it doesn't really excite them or empower them. And then when you force them to sort of write it down and look at the big picture, they get all jazzed and then they go for it.
Yep, absolutely. Or they don't allow themselves to even feel the fear. Most of the time it's because they're afraid that they can't have what they want. Right? Or they're afraid that it's going to change their lives. Like, if you start to generate those 7-figure years, right? Like, what is really going to change in your life and in your business? How are people going to react to you? How's your family going to be with you? Who are your friends going to be? Like, that is scary, right? Like, holy crap. And that will actually hold you back, even if you're telling yourself, oh, it's not going to hold me back. It's not going to hold me back. It's part of your belief system. It's there. And that resistance needs to be let go. You know, people ask me all the time, how is it that my clients can get like really fast, almost instant results? And it's just by doing that one exercise of going into the picture of what they want, release the resistance, and calling it in, right? The universe, it's already there, by the way. It's not like you're creating it. You're just opening the door, right? I did not know that.
It is music to my ears hearing you say that.
Holy crap, did I not know that?
It's already there. You just have to open your eyes and go, oh.
Exactly. And when you're not in the driver's seat, you can't even open your eyes. You just can't see it. It's not on the other side. And so you need to get clear, you need to decide, and you need to release the resistance. And then you need to drive and do your part. And we'll talk about that. But that's you being in the driver's seat, right? Mm-hmm. There's different things you can do in the driver's seat. I always picture a Ferrari, by the way.
Nice. You have good taste.
I have good taste, apparently. Would you get a Ferrari that's not red?
No, fuck that. What's the point?
Okay, it's not just me. I know someone with a Ferrari that's not red, and I'm like, what's the fucking point?
Yeah, what's the point? If it's not red, it's really, I mean, if you're going to go in, go all in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So that was number one. Any questions about it? Or do you have any questions or want me to clarify on anything?
Adel says, check your microphone again. Erica's here. Catherine says, what do you do exactly? Sorry, I missed it. Remind everybody of the badassery that comes from you.
What do I do? I'm always shy about that, but that's okay. What I can do, as long as people are hearing me. I'm a money mindset and success coach. I'm an energy healer. And the best way to describe what I do is I teach people how to catapult themselves to the finish line. Right? And I release their blocks, but more than that, I empower them to leverage the universe in the process. Right? People are like talking about the law of attraction and all of that. And I had someone tell me the other day, oh, it only works for you because it's real. And I'm like, no, these are the laws of the universe. They're always at play. And really what I'm talking about with my clients is, how do you engage them in a way that helps you get there more quickly? Because we get in our own ways, we get stuck. And how do we get out of our own way and get there to the finish line much more quickly? You want to know the funny thing, Becky?
What?
Is that last December you said, what are you 100% confident that you can do for your clients, right? Yeah. So that you had that confidence like going in. And I said, I can get them unstuck. And for months I was like, oh, this is crazy. But you know what's really, really, really funny is that my entire career before, which was in IT and project management, I was the shit picker upper. The person who picked up the really hard, impossible projects and
fixed it
and made them happen. My whole life, like things that were impossible. Like I traveled to 38 countries. I learned how to ski when I was 12, right? I saved my money for 4 years. Like things that people would have been like, this is crazy for a 12-year-old to do.
You just did it.
I just did it. And this is just an extension. How I do it today is different because I have those energy healing tools and I'm really good at it, by the way.
Yeah, you are.
I'm really good at it.
But I knew that 3 years ago.
Yep. And I still like, you know what, for me, it's like the magic of it all is when you're really, really connected and to the energy of creation, and you go into someone's space and you set the intention and you just allow the energy to come through you and to the process to dig and to find the root cause of what's holding people back. It's never about the money. It's never about like the fear of that you won't have enough. It's about what's underneath and to replace that. It's such a gift to be able to do that. And I own it now. I didn't always own it, but I love it. It's so much fun. Does that answer your question? I don't know who asked, but somebody asked.
Yeah, that was Catherine. You were very eloquent. Mm-hmm. Your mic, they're saying that your mic is going in and out sometimes. I'm not sure.
So why don't I just take the mic out? And I forgot to hit record, so I'm going to share the Facebook Live after.
Yeah,
okay.
That's fine. Unplug your headphones.
Oh, now I can hear you. I unplugged them. Yeah? Okay, great. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know.
Don't worry about it. It's a Facebook Live.
It's carry on. Okay, so you guys ready to go on to number 2?
I'm getting water.
All right, you guys want to take a note for this. All right, you have notes? You ready? You're holding on to doubt for dear life. Doubt is this thing that is either your self-doubt, you don't believe in yourself, you don't believe that it's possible for you to manifest, you don't believe that you have the solutions or what it takes to really work with your clients because you don't have enough experience. Or maybe you doubt your ability to figure out the next level or that you're going to be able to handle things when you get there. And you doubt that there's enough clients in the universe. And I have to say,
that's not available to me. That only works for other people.
And I doubt that if, what was the other one? It's just not going to work, or there's not enough clients. And the law of, and this is what I did, right? I believed in the laws, and it's not until I got really serious and went, why am I hitting that wall? What am I missing? That I realized that I believed in the law of attraction, but I really kept doubting it. And I had this lack mindset. What a shocker. Right? Holy shit. I was pissed.
You're the best. I love this.
Right? Like, I'm sharing more personal stuff today, but like, holy crap. I was like,
this is what they need to know. They need to know that somebody just like them felt the same exact things and made it through the other side. This is perfect.
And you know what the worst part was? I was helping my clients, but I'm like sitting here going, I doubt. And I had this feeling of, I thought because I was making just enough that I could fool myself into believing I had an abundant mindset. But you know what, guys? If you don't have millions of dollars, if you don't make as much money as what you want, if you're not getting the results that you want, you have limiting beliefs, and it really boils down to either self-doubt or you have a limiting mindset, like there's just not enough. And you know, for me, what changed it is I was reading David Nagel's books, and I read those books like over and over again, because once I got out of my own way and I started to look for solutions, right? Yeah. I was like, what am I missing? Right? And I know that I'm not alone in this, right? Like, everybody wants to believe in the law of attraction, but we'll believe it when we see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? We'll believe when the mindset stuff actually works. So I was actually reading, and one of the laws is the law of polarity. And the law of polarity basically says, if you have a desire, it actually is it's already, because it exists out in the universe. You cannot have a desire without it existing. And on top of that, you have the solution to that desire.
You won't be given the vision if you weren't also given the ability to reach that.
Isn't that incredible? So for me, I did some belief work, right? Some resistance around that. And I chose to believe that was real. And I sat down and I said, you know what? This law of polarity is absolutely real. It's not garbage. It's not. And I said to myself, and I got up one day and I was doing a little manifesting challenge because, you know, that's me, right? And I got up Monday morning and I said, I intend to manifest $10,000 this week. And I said, okay, you know, that means that the universe has the $10,000, and it came from a heart's desire. It didn't come from a need or a lack or a fear, because that doesn't work, right? But it came from, okay, I'm curious to know, and I want to experience what the universe has to offer. So that was Monday. And then, but I get in my head a lot, right? It's easy to kind of get lost in the how and trying to control it. And like, so I decided, universe, I'm open to whatever it takes. And I want a clear sign and opportunity that is not me stuck in my head, right? And not doing it out of fear. So Tuesday morning, one of my clients emailed me, and she said, she basically was like, I'm ready to work with you and take this to the next level. So by Thursday, I had made my first $20,000 sale.
Love it.
Holy shit. right? I'm like, okay, so what's going on here? And so the week after, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this again, but I'm gonna ask for cash rather than like I'm gonna be more specific because I didn't have it in cash. I had it like in a promise, right? Which was incredible, but I wanted cash, right? So I asked for 10K in cash and I said, I'm open to whatever. And I wasn't controlling, I wasn't in the driver's seat. I was like, you drive, right? Just show me what to do. And the universe really fucks with you when you do that. So here I am. I had said I would never do another theta healing class. What did the first thing that I got that Monday morning? A theta healing class out of the blue, right? And then I said I would never do another booster. What did I get that afternoon? A booster. And I said I would never do a year-long offer with someone. And you know what's funny is that that's the right offer for me. It so excites me. It's amazing. We're taking her business to like 5 million. But I'm like, all these things that I said I wouldn't do, like the universe was kind of like throwing them at me. It was kind of testing me. Now, I got to talk to a guy, a business guy, because I'm talking to more people these days. Like just, right? Like business is not just this weird marketing thing that you hide behind a camera. So apparently it doesn't work that way. Right. And I'm really good at hiding, by the way. I'm an expert at it. And so I talked to him and it doesn't go really well. It's probably one of the weirdest conversations I've ever had with a business owner. He's into MLM stuff and it's French and English and we're like all over the place. But at the end of it, I started explaining what I do, like the theta healing and the healing modality. And I start saying that I'm a really good remote viewer because I'm very, very good at all the spiritual stuff like remote viewing, talking to guides and all of that. I don't incorporate a lot of it in my business. But anyway, so he's like, oh, can you teach me remote viewing now?
Of course.
And I'm like, okay, first of all, universe, that's really great, but it really spooked me. And two, do I really want to do that? So it got me to thinking about really what the mistake number 3 was. But now that I had dealt with the doubt, I had to also deal with the fact that I could take inspired action, right? And I had to start believing in the action that I was taking without controlling the freaking outcome. Right? And that's the hard part because it's kind of like you're getting all these inspired ideas. Are you going to move forward? So before I get into that, I just wanted to give people a little bit of a, how do you get through the doubt? How do you get to build that confidence, right?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine wants to know what a booster is. You need to tell everybody what a booster is.
Okay. So a booster is essentially an intuitive reading. And basically you're telling me what you want to manifest in your life. And intuitively, I go through your space and I tell you everything that is blocking you from being able to do that. And I tell you how to fix it.
And she's fucking good at it, by the way.
Yeah, I actually discovered recently that I actually prefer the videos because people interact with them. Like the vibration tune-ups. That's the little offer, by the way, that made me 12 grand. That's insane. But they're so much fun to do because you go into a person's space and you get to guide them and you get to like, you're not live with them, but it's so much better than the emails. And do you know how many boosters I've done, Becky?
How many?
155.
I mean, you've done 2 or 3 for me alone. I mean, guys,
yeah.
She's really good at them. I don't know if you're doing them anymore, but she's really good at them.
They're still on my website. I'm thinking of switching it back to the vibration boosters. It's just that they take a lot of time. And what I found with the boosters is that there was not a whole lot of feedback.
Well, some people don't really want that, right? They just want you, listen, tell me what I need to work on and I'm going to go do that.
Yeah. And that's what I really needed. So, and it's awesome. You know, people come back and they're like, I got the booster. And sometimes just the act of investing opens up the resistance because I'm working with them on the video. And even if they never watch the video, they get the results.
What do you mean sometimes? Every time.
Mm-hmm.
Every time. The fee is part of the process. That is what opens the door, is you saying yes to yourself.
Yep. And I'm a catalyst, like, yes. Right? Yes. I just speed things up, and doing that booster will speed things up. If people do the work behind the boosters, they do get clients. And I like it when they come back and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe it, right? Or I did a challenge last week and the women came back, said, I got 3 clients this week. It was the first time in months.
Yeah, see, it's the real deal. Catherine is asking if it's like Akashic Records, soul alignment.
No, I don't go into the Akashic Records for that. I really go into your space and look from an energy of creation. I don't like necessarily to look into the Akashic Records because I find that's like, what's the point? That's kind of how I am with that, because it's kind of like, well, it's written in stone and the future is still not written and we still get to choose. It's not that hard to go into the Akashic records, but I prefer not to. That's just not my thing. And I don't know exactly what she means by soul alignment. I know a lot of people have had sessions where they just realign everything. I like all that stuff, but the problem that I have with it is that, or the challenge, I shouldn't say, like, it's just my preference, is that all of the spiritual stuff, it's easy to get lost in it. It's like brain candy. And at the end of the day, it's about getting shit done. It's about manifesting your life. It's about taking action. And I do everything with respect to that. And if I just did soul alignment, for me, it's not enough to get my clients to the next place. It's not enough to help people get to the next place.
You catapult them to the next step. And there is something to be said for reviewing, how did we get here? What brought us up till now? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, less time on that, more time on next step, motivation, inspiration, move your ass. Let's go. You can do this. Yeah.
I find that people really, sometimes it's like really useful to know, like, get the perspective of what's going on. Like, let's say you're having a relationship with someone or you don't understand a situation, going up and asking what's going on with that situation can really bring a peace to that individual so that you can move forward. Going into the future to see if your partner is going to stay with you over the next 2 or 3 weeks or what he's going to decide, it drives me nuts, right? Like, it's just not my thing. Can I do it? Am I really good at it? Yeah.
Who cares though? I mean, really.
I don't care. That's my thing.
This is a tangent, but really quickly, it's interesting to me when people ask questions like that, because it's like, it goes right back to mistake number one that you said about the driver's seat. You're automatically putting yourself in the passenger seat saying, what will happen to me, rather than what will I create for myself? And
you know, it's why I don't want to do just straight psychic readings. And I started my business doing straight psychic readings, right? I sat here and did a $30 reading, and it works. It's great. And it's fun, right? Because it's your first $30, like, holy crap. But you know, like, people come and what they're expecting is they're expecting the psychic to tell them what to do, or because they're not in the driver's seat, they're relying on the psychic's decision about what comes next. Well, I'm not the be all and end all, and you still have free will into what you create. And even before I was doing theta healing, I was like, what do you need to change to attract the soulmate sooner rather than later?
I want to add a note, because I also know that in this group there are many very talented psychics and card readers, and I am not bashing them at all.
No, me neither.
They have an incredible skill set, and they are profoundly helpful to many, many people.
Yeah.
What we're talking about today is navigating yourself a little bit ahead of that. It's not just about the reading itself.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that's just not how I roll and how I see things. And yeah, and I'm a really hard person to go for a reading because I'm really picky.
Catherine said that she agreed with everything you just said. So cool.
Okay, cool. Right. And I love psychics, by the way. There's so many awesome psychics around. So
there absolutely are. I've had many a reading and I love them. But this is
right.
All right.
So how do you get yourself through the belief work? How do you start really believing? Yes. Right. In every book, like I think Jack Canfield has a section on believing as well. Right. Yeah. Every success books, I think I don't remember exactly, but I think the Napoleon Hill as well had like, you have to believe or you have to choose or something, right? Like they're all, believing is, faith is part of all of it. And so the first part is to do some belief work so that you have the feeling work. And I'll give you guys an example of that if you want it. Do you guys want to know what it feels like to feel worthy and deserving, and what it feels like to believe in your goal? Duh. Right? That you have that in your cells. And can we do that download to everybody right now? And just type in yes in the comments.
Oh my God.
I'm going to go crazy.
Yes. I'm going to type in yes.
Yeah. So creator of all that is, it is created, it is commanded to send this feeling and this download. All right. And more than that, we're going to ask the universe to send you proof in your external life that that is possible. Okay. And over the next 48 hours. There you go. Isn't it fun? I can feel like people just like tingling. I see all these little white lights everywhere.
Yes, 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 of course. Yes, yes. Fucking love you. Yes, yes. Here they come. Here they come. Yes.
So once you do the belief work and you do the feeling work and you get into alignment with a place that you can believe in yourself, because it, you know, we all have that birthright, but it's not easy. And it took me a really long time, right? Becky can tell me that, Natalie, you're worth it and you're really, really, really good at it, but it has to come from the inside. And I have to be able to stand here and say, I believe in myself, right? I can't say I believe in myself because Becky believes in myself.
Right.
And thank you for believing in me. But you can't really step up into your success until you really get to that point where you're like, yeah, I got this, right? And then you got to look at your business and go, what do you believe in? And I think that's really important. I think a lot of people, business owners, because they kind of start and they're not really, sometimes it happens more with coaches, but they're not necessarily clear on their process or what they're wanting to create. And they don't really believe in their dream or their solutions. And for me, this was key. I had to believe in the solution that was out there. I didn't want to deliver crap. And one of the things that I felt was, when I was first starting coaching, I believed in the process. And then I was like, it didn't quite resonate anymore. And I didn't adapt it. And then I was like, well, I have all of these processes from all these different books, but what does Natalie believe in? What is my process? And once I got down to that, it was easy, right? Now I'm like, yeah, now I believe it, right? Now I'm like, yeah, now I can sell this because there's no more doubt. Because when the doubt comes in and you're trying to sell something, and I know that a lot of people have known me over the last couple of years, and they all say the same thing, right? They're all like, yeah, Lee's like amazing. And then on the inside, I was like, I doubt myself. I doubt myself. And that would just like vibrate everywhere. And that's what I was attracting. People were feeling it. I was attracting people that didn't believe in themselves. That would drive me nuts. But everything to push me forward to that next step. Okay. And then you have to accept the law of polarity and you have to accept abundance as truth. And that's not as easily said, like it's easier said than done. But if you really do that, if you really make a conscious choice to say, hey, I believe in the law of polarity, you know what happened to all of that doubt? Every time the doubt comes up now, I'm like, no, the solution is out there. Hey, no, fuck that. Right? It's out there. I just have to look for the solution. That's it.
That's right.
Right? And if it's still not happening after a while, maybe there's this thing called divine timing. My cards keep reading divine timing. And I'm like, well, that's weird, but it just means that it's close. I think it's close, but it's like, it's a matter of time and something needs to happen to come into play, or it is my divine timing. The program that I created, the Creating Money Miracles, is totally divine timing. I feel it. It was a download. It came in. I was like, this is what's going to happen. Right. And I believe in it. I have my own process for it. And it's like, yeah. Right. Yes. And then you got to do your part until it's the right time and not fail. And people will go, how do you manifest money by a particular date? You know what? It doesn't really freaking matter if you manifest by Friday or by the next Friday. When you decide and you get in the driver's seat, you do everything you can until it's done.
And I'd like to add something to that.
Mm-hmm.
When you decide and get in the driver's seat, let's say I declare I'm going to make 100K by Friday. Let's say I only make 40. You think I'm crying in my Cheerios about an extra 40,000 that I wouldn't have had any other way? Of course not. And I'm on a roll by then. I'm going to keep going until I hit my goal or go beyond it. Right. So under no circumstance does disappointment come in there.
Nope. And it's always there. And maybe the universe just needed a little bit more time for it to come in. Right. And, you're dealing with numbers, you're dealing with people, and maybe it sent you an opportunity that you weren't quite open to. Right. And that's okay. And maybe it just needs a few more days. I firmly, extremely believe that now. It's like, and if you're asking for less than what you want because you're doubting that you can get what you want, you're going to attract that. You're going to attract those kinds of opportunities, and they're going to be a pain in the butt. Right? Like pain in the butt clients, pain in the butt offers, pain, right? And be careful with the word pain in the butt. They will cause hemorrhoids.
That's called speaking to manifest. Be very careful with your words. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes we say stupid shit like, I'll never do that again. And then you spend like 2 months wondering why you don't get clients.
Yeah.
Because you said that. All right. You want to know what the third piece is? I think that you'll know what it is. You're not taking enough inspired action. It's like, I wanted to explain this one though. I'm like, what is inspired action? I used to think that inspired action was this thing that came down from the heavens and it would feel like really, really good in my body and I would know. Sort of like the feeling I had when I hired you, right? Like I knew that was inspired action. And that's really nice. And that's part of it. But sometimes inspired action is a little bit more subtle. And so what it might look like is somebody telling you that you should go and have a conversation with your tribe about what they actually want rather than guessing. And you might think, oh, it doesn't feel good to me and I have all this fear around it. So you think it's not actually inspired action because it didn't come through the divine, but it came through you. Every action, every idea that you've had is inspired action. The only time I would say it's not inspired action is if it comes from a place of fear or a doubt. If you're manifesting something of $10,000 because you're afraid that there isn't enough money and you just want to break, that's not inspired action. It has to come from a place of joy. And the more you can do that, the more it can come from a heart place, the easier it's going to be. You know, I was saying in my shower a couple years ago, and I don't know if I ever told you that story. I had to go move my mother. She lives like 3 hours away, and it was a complex situation. She was moving out of my sister's house, and I really didn't want to go. It was 5 a.m. I'm like, oh, this sucks, right? And so I asked Creator, I'm like, what do I do? And I heard release the obligation. And as soon as I did that, which is basically the equivalent of saying I have to do something or I should do something, which isn't a choice, then I replaced it with, do I want to do this? Absolutely. And the whole energy changed. And then I was able to put myself forward. Biggest mistake that I made was thinking that a lot of what I was getting was not inspired action. It was just me in my head. And truthfully, a lot of stuff was just like basic, right? If you're at the beginning of your business, you don't need a website. You don't need, like, I love marketing and sales, but it's like getting out there, talking to your tribe, finding out what they need, and then coming back and asking for the sale. Like, there's basic things that a lot of us entrepreneurs skip.
Build relationships. Give a shit. Show people you actually care.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I didn't want to do was ask for referrals, right? And last week I kept hearing, ask Becky. And I'm like, I can't ask Becky. She's like this amazing goddess.
Come in and we're doing a live stream in my group. Hello, you're amazing.
And you know what I heard was, this is the way. When you reel back, I was like, okay. So
highly intelligent, independent women who tend to be entrepreneurs do not like asking for help. We are taught very early on that that is a sign of weakness. And I am here to abolish that myth. If you want to go where you want to go, you won't get there alone. You'll get part of the way. But if you want to go all the way, ask your sisters to support you. There is no shame in that. There is power in that vulnerability.
There is absolute power.
Yeah.
I want to applaud you on that. You know, and the other thing is, if you can't accept help, how are you ever going to receive from the universe?
Hello.
Like, I'm not this year, if there's a learning for me, is receiving. You know, I won Jen Scalia's program, right? And before that, the only time I ever asked for help is when I was paying someone. And I needed to learn that it was okay to receive when I'm not paying someone. And I'm going to tell the story.
Not just money, not just help, but compliments, love, affection. You need to be open. You can't get any of that with these big walls, right? And it's not just about business.
It's about everything. You want an extraordinary life, you need to open your heart and you need to be able to receive it. I was not a receiver. I was like pushing it out. And I've had experiences that like closed me up. But I was closed since the time I was 8 years old. You know, I went skiing probably the first winter, and I met this other little girl, and we went skiing together, and we were on the ski hill, and I don't know what I said, but after lunch, she looked at me and she said, "Can't you take a compliment?" Like 12 years old. I was like, and I knew she was speaking the damn truth, and I was like, and it stayed with me because I don't know who she was, but that little girl made an impression on me. Right? Because she was basically saying, can't you receive? And are you ready to start receiving?
Every relationship you have, everything that happens around you is the universe holding up a mirror saying, this is what you're working on next to get to the next step to grow. So proud of you.
But you got to take that action. You got to be able to do those things. So what I've decided to do is to make a list every day I get up. I have my goals that I'm working on. And I get up and I'm like, what are all the ideas that I denied because I was like, it's not a good idea, right? Like doing clarity calls or reaching out or even telling people in your Facebook group that, man, they should work with you.
I do that all day long. I scroll through all day long and I'm like, oh my God, yes, I can help that person. Yes, I can. Hello, I'm right here. I want to help you. Hello. Yeah.
Or dropping things that are not serving you, right? Like, all of those things are things that you have to choose and say, hey, they're not right. And we hold on to things and how it should come. I see people holding on to freaking offers. I see people holding on to how the clients come to them. And I'm like, Facebook is great, but it's kind of changing. And it's a very limiting thing when there's all this other opportunities out there. And if you're just doing one, the universe works through the masses. So it can probably help you, but it can help you more if you do more. And that's really when you can start to say, hey, it doesn't matter if it leads to results. As long as I'm doing everything on my list, the universe is going to figure it out. And you can't get the next piece until you accept what you get.
Being open to being uncomfortable and trying new things. Always.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I say. Make an action list of all the things that you said you wouldn't do. Go do them and see what happens. And if you're waiting for the inspired idea to come, ask for it, let the universe send it to you, but don't wait forever to get that inspired idea. Just go out and try things. One of the things that I am is a big action taker. Like, I don't wait for very long, but I still kind of like push too many things off, thinking they weren't right. So, and by the way, the more inspired action you can take, the easier the path's going to be. It's not going to be hard.
When you ask, I always tell my clients, you need to be open to receiving it. Even if it doesn't make sense, even if it seems absurd on its surface, even if you're hearing something like shut down the most profitable part of your business, it's because you're meant to do that to make room for the better thing.
Yep. I always like to compare that to like cleaning up your desk, right? Even though it might be really scary.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I cleaned up my desk for 2 years.
Oh my God.
Like I might have moved things around, but I didn't like actually wash it. And so one day I'm doing this Jen Scalia thing and I'm like, okay, I'm going to wash my desk today. And you know what? Just the energy felt lighter. And sometimes you got to do that for your business. Absolutely. And the universe is going to send you opportunities and go, do you really want that? If you're wanting to make more money, and it depends on the business model that you have, but a lot of times people want to charge more. Well, that means you're going to have to start asking for more money. You're going to have to get in the driver's seat and say, hey, I'm going to make this happen. And know that the universe is going to provide. And now here's the thing with that. If you're asking for your certain pricing and that's what you're putting out into the universe, there's somebody out there who's right for you, who's ready and willing to work with you. If you're dropping your freaking pricing all the time, and Becky is probably going, yeah, I've told you that. Mistake, Natalie, mistake. I've done so many mistakes.
We all have.
And because you're doubting or you're afraid, that's what you're going to attract. And you're not going to attract ideal clients. You're not going to attract those clients that you can really take to the next level. Because you and I both know, like, the people that are on here are ready to go to the next level.
Of course.
Right? And that's to say, too, though, it has to be something that feels good to you. And sometimes it means releasing resistance to taking that action and then choosing from a place of, I desire this. I see healers a lot, and I see some massage therapists, some modalities that are more hourly based. And I'm like, guys, if you're serious about making an impact, you got to change the way you structure your pricing, because $80 an hour ain't going to cover the bills. And it's going to be freaking hard.
What's Becky's rule number 1? Never charge by the hour. Ever, 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 ever.
Yeah. I actually consider that a lack mindset.
Bingo.
Right? It's funny. I've learned. It's funny what you learn when you go, I'm missing something.
Where did I hear that before? I don't know.
You could read the same thing 5 times, and on the 5th time you go, was that really there the first time?
Sometimes you have to experience it in a different way in order to truly understand it.
Yeah, and I think you can't understand something until you actually know it inside. And actually, that's the rule of manifesting. You have to know it inside before it can come into your life. All right, so you guys want to know what number 4 is?
Yeah.
Now my eyes are really funky. Okay, it's about upgrading your mindset. I want to say upgrading your software. I want to explain this, and I don't know if it's the right title for it, but I'll just explain it. So I used to think that manifesting and upgrading your mindset and all of that had to do with releasing your blocks. The more blocks you release, the more apt you are to receiving what you want, which is all true. But what I was curious about was, how come you can release thousands of blocks, which I had done, I've seen other people do, and still not be where you want? And that's because I had the wrong end game in mind. really the game, and is to become who you need to be to do what you need to do in a way that allow you to attract what you want. It's about becoming. It's not about freaking releasing the blocks. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, you have to get that out of the way to step into the next version of yourself. And I tell my clients a very similar thing, which is you need to create the container in order to receive. You have to be that person that feels she deserves it and can do it to then take the action.
Yep. And if you're taking the action and you don't feel like you deserve it, you're going to end up having just enough, right? And if you're going to step in from just enough to that next level, whatever that might be for you, you have to become that person. And that's a scary thing. That means power, success, money, all of whatever is blocking you in the way needs to be cleared. And it's different for everyone. You know, I wish there was a list of beliefs that I could just take out and go through and like take everyone through, but there are beliefs like that. But at the end of the day, it's a very personal journey. And if you allow yourself a system, which I have actually, go through the various layers, and you go down to the root cause of it, and you start to pull that, people transform, and they and you know, people say it takes 21 days to build a habit. I'm like, that's bullshit. You have to decide, and you have to transform into that person.
You can take 21 days. Actually, they changed it. They said 21, said 28, then they said 66. I don't know where they are now, but it can take that if you want it to. But what the process you're talking about, which I firmly believe in, as you know, is don't take the block that's the tree and trim the branches, because they're going to grow back, right? You take the block, you rip the fucker out, you pour gasoline in the hole, you light that bitch up, and you're instantly transformed. And that's just, it's so much better, and people feel instantly free and lighter and more motivated and more inspired, and they start to get that genuine belief in themselves. Because like you just said, it's not about that list of typical blocks or beliefs. People have experiences that are similar all day long, but the meaning that they ascribe to those experiences is what gives them the block. So even if you've got a typical block, it means something different to you than it would be to me, because we've had different lives, right? And that's how you get to the root of it.
And by the way, a block that you might have might serve you really, really well. Like one of the blocks that I'm not going to call it a block because it's not a block for you. Like one of your beliefs is that when somebody tells you that you can't do something, you're like, I'm going to prove you wrong. Like, fuck you, right?
Watch me.
I love it, right? Me, somebody tells me that and I go, maybe, right? You know what I mean?
But that's because we've had different experiences, right? That's what led to a particular block of belief.
Yeah, and every belief serves everyone in some way, shape, or form. It's about finding that place, that true place. And the deeper you go, the longer the change will be. And you know, people say, well, how come things come back after a while? It's because you're expanding, right? Your unconscious is going to fight you to keep you safe. It's going to fight you to stay where you're at, because you don't know what's on the other side. And it takes that leap of faith. It takes that decision. And those 4 things that we've just talked about, they're really building on top of each other. Mm-hmm. And you make a decision and you do the rest of it. People will take business action before they'll work on their mindset. If there was a mistake that I've seen over and over again, and I've started to get really curious about it, I'm like, it makes sense. You know, you're starting your business, you want to know how to attract clients, and you want to get that. But they over focus on that, and there is no emphasis on the mindset portion, even though everybody says, oh yeah, thoughts create reality. Like everybody kind of believes in that, but nobody takes that action, or they try to do it by themselves because they don't want to have another investment.
Well, I don't even know that it's about the investment. By and large, what I've seen, and you tell me what you've seen, but by and large, what I see is systems and strategy are very safe. I can tick off boxes and I can pat myself on the back for accomplishing something.
Yeah.
Mindset and the way I think, it is not tangible. How do I know when I've got that block gone? How do I know when it's never coming back? I have to feel feelings. I have to dive into what's personal to me. That's different. That's uncomfortable.
Yeah. That's harder too, right? I've had clients who've quit on me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you push them and they're not as committed.
They're not ready
as they are to their story. And that's okay. I mean, again, everybody's got their own journey.
And that's fine. It's a process, and it's a process for them too, right? I know why I manifested that, but they manifested it for themselves. But it's the challenge of, it's, you know, you think your mindset is on straight too, right? Like everybody that's going through this, they're like, oh, I have a good mindset. I have a good mindset, right? And they might even know they don't have a good mindset, but they're kind of convincing themselves that they are, like I did. I thought I had an abundant mindset. I really did not.
I don't think that there's anything wrong with saying my mindset is great compared to where I was. I think that's actually fabulous, because we need to,
like that.
To let praise in, right? But I also think it's dangerous, and this applies to everybody, including me. It is dangerous when you say, my mindset is good, I don't need any more help on that. I think that is fucking scary thinking. I don't care who you are or how long you've been at this. Mindset work is for life, because you're committed to growing and being the best and highest version of yourself. It is never done, and you do it for the sake of improving your life and your clients' lives. I don't like it. I get very upset when people say, oh, my mindset's great. Really? Really?
That's the number one sign, right? Okay. You're either not ready or you're lying to yourself.
And I'm not assigning blame, and I'm not saying these are bad people. I'm just, to me, that is one of the highest identifying marks. My mindset's all set.
And people don't know. So most of the time they don't know. And you can't know what you don't know until you know it. And sometimes you have to hit a few walls, or like in my case, I had to get hit some stones on the water to like get the universe to bash and send it to me.
Ooh,
yeah, I have a 7-inch scar on my forehead.
Oh my God.
I don't know if it's 7 inches. Sorry, like I had 7 stitches.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I was kayaking down a river, and I was in this group, and it was right at the beginning of like me like learning theta healing and all of these modalities and coaching, and the group wasn't exactly my group of people. You know how you know you're doing something and you're holding on to something, right? And I really didn't feel comfortable with them. And one day I was guiding them down the river. My mindset was always saying, I can't roll, I can't roll, I can't roll. Like, talk about creating a reality. Went over, like my helmet went up, smashed it a couple of times. And I don't remember coming out of the water, but I pulled myself, my boat, and my paddle out of the water. And I was like, what is the universe trying to tell me? They're like, get out. Right? It's time to focus on other things. And when the time is right, I will go back to it. But it just won't be with that group of people.
Good Lord.
But that's how I kind of think of the universe, right? Like if you're not listening and you're off course and you're off path, the universe is going to do something. It's going to make you sick. It's going to do something to bring you back.
Talk about pain and pleasure a lot in this group, and you decide if you're motivated by how much pain, like how much does it have to hurt in order for you to do something? Because the universe will tap you a few times, it'll nudge you a little bit, and eventually it's going to take a fucking bat and knock you upside the head. But you get to decide how much pain is necessary for you to take action.
You know, for me, the biggest thing that's changed, I deal with depression a lot, or I dealt with depression a lot in the past. And you know what's changed is this realization that whenever I feel depression, instead of like beating myself up and staying in there for however long, now I go, what am I missing? What is my inner being trying to tell me? And I don't accept the pain anymore. And I go like, and I switch like this.
Love that.
Like, I don't need medication anymore. It's like this. Isn't that great?
That's cool.
I feel alive, by the way. Like, hey.
Because every physical symptom is trying to tell you there's an emotion here that needs to be expressed. There's something going on for you that's really important. Pay attention, right?
Exactly. It's kind of cool how it works. Okay, so those were the 4 things. So when you need to get into the driver's seat, 2, stop doubting, start believing in yourself and in the universe. Just make a decision that you're going to believe, and screw the doubt, right? Like, because it's not your friend, man. Really, it's not your friend. Get the help to release the blocks if you need to. Take massive inspired action. Do all of those little actions that you discounted because, oh, it's not right, right? If you had an idea, it's because it was supposed to be, right? And clear the fears that you have around it, release resistance, and 2, become who you need to be to allow the results to come into your life. That is how you get to the next level. You know, one of the things I promised on my not my sales page, but my landing page is, how do you manifest money more easily? You pick a goal that excites you, that you get in the driver's seat, that is believable to you, and you grow it from there. The better you get at manifesting those smaller amounts, the easier it'll be eventually to go up exponentially. I see a lot of business owners pick like $3,500, like they're 3,500 and they want to go to 10. They can't even see how they get to 10, right? Like, so even if they want it, sometimes it's just easier to go 5 or 6 and then exponentially go up. And the universe will usually deliver more because you get on that wave, right? And the universe, the tap just turns on.
Vague goal equals vague results. You can't go from 35 to 10 if you don't know how, if you can't see it.
Yeah. But when you get to, like, people get to 20 and then it goes like this. It just shoots up because they start to believe that making money is easy. And then now you're believing your belief system that you need to be in to really take it to the next level. And that gets really fun, right? So that was what I had to say today. How are you guys who's listening? I know that you guys, there's a bunch of people on. Anybody have questions?
Yeah, you guys, feedback, comments, questions, concerns. Jean says it's all about mindset and being present with yourself. Yes. Catherine says some people really drop in. That can be scary. Yes, it can be. Erin, so true. Shifting yourself is scary and quote unquote hard.
That's a belief in itself, though.
It is. Emma says, oh, yes, I have that too. Beth says, superstar. You guys are awesome. Drop your feedback and your questions for Natalie in the comments. I'm going to keep reading. Catherine says, release the resistance. Beth, yes, make real connections. Beth says, yes, not asking is the first step to problems and they will want to help. Hands up, I'm still working on it. Emma says, oh, yes, I noticed that too. Nancy, I love your energy and your playfulness. Nancy, you rock. I love Nancy.
I'm Nancy today. Okay, thank you. I'm okay with that. Everybody calls me Nancy.
No, her name is Nancy.
Oh, Nancy says. I thought she was calling me Nancy.
No, her name is Nancy.
Okay.
Jean, don't let fear overpower your faith. Amen, Jean. Yeah, Nancy was telling you she loves your energy and your playfulness.
You guys have you have an amazing group of people in this group. Do you know that Becky has like this magical power to bring women together in a way that I have never seen? Like, seriously, I think about Facebook and I go, I hate the thing, right? Like, I don't hate my Facebook group, but there's days where I keep getting the idea that I need to let it go. Right. And I'm not quite there yet, because what I can't seem to do is do what Becky does, which is to inspire people to participate, to engage, to support. Like her CCC program, which we were in like 2.5 years ago. I don't know if you're still running it, but it was that community of women. We still talk to each other. The only reason I'm not in it anymore is because I needed to expand my wings. Right? But it's the support that came from that, and the women in there that stepped up and be able to go to the next level. Like, that was just incredible. Like, I have goosebumps talking about it. You have a magical power.
Let's tell everybody what my magic power is. My secret. Do you know what my secret power is? Do you know how I do that?
I don't know.
Okay, well, it's very simple. I show up in my bathrobe. I smoke cigarettes. I say fuck. I cry. I talk about anxiety and PTSD. I talk about how we all have the same struggles and we all go through it together no matter where we are. I talk about how if I could do this after being agoraphobic and catatonic on the sofa for almost 10 years, that anybody could do this. And then I offer to help them because I was them. That's how I do it. I get fucking real. We are real in here.
You know what? And that's the part that I was missing. I got so lost in the whole marketing and sales that I don't even remember the last time I showed up on a Facebook Live and actually like connected and like shared something freaking real. I was like sharing information, giving people what I thought they needed. This is probably I think the number one Facebook Live of me being real.
Well, this is the magic.
This is where the magic is.
It is.
I absolutely believe that. So it's kind of nice.
If you have a safe space, and if you lead by example that way, and you're encouraging other people to be real, they're bonded so tight because they know you're all in it together, you know? And it doesn't matter if it's a group of 3 or a group of 16,000. You're in, and that's it. And we're getting. You know,
it's kind of like what's going on in Houston at the moment, which is really horrendous. And like even though it's catastrophic in the way that it is, there is a bonding that I'm sure is happening from the people that are there because they're connecting, they're supporting each other, and they're moving through it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay. Emma says, yes. Jean says, all about power. Emma, that's why we love you. Jean says, Becky's real. You have to inspire yourself, do it for you, and people become attracted to you.
Yep.
When you were talking about the magic of the group, Beth said, well, yes, you're in this group. Oh, nice. We love you, Natalie. Come back and visit us.
Oh, thank you so much.
Rana has a question. She says, you talked about releasing separately from adopting new beliefs. What does releasing look like for you?
When you release a belief, let's say that you're working on the belief that I'm picking up right now is the fear that you're not good enough, right? Like that's just a story that you're telling yourself over and over again. And I know a lot of people have that. And even if they get to just enough, they still don't believe. So releasing will be something like that's the tree, right? Like it's not the core belief. It's not like what's underneath. So what will end up happening is I will say, well, what happens then? Like, why don't you believe that? And we'll see. Sometimes I take them on a kind of like more on a vision quest than anything else because it gets them out of their head. But let's say that they say, well, I don't believe in myself because my dad told me I was never good enough. Okay, what happened then? Like, tell me about the situation. Okay, and what happened after that? What did you learn from it? What's really underneath? And it's just about a questioning process to really get down to the root level. And what I've started to do recently is just ask Creator, I'm like, am I at the root cause yet? And if I'm not, I keep going. I'm a really good digger, but even I can stop and say, hey, this is kind of enough levels, because I freak out sometimes how many levels there are. I'm like, really? And people go, oh, but one of the things that most people don't realize is that they have to get away from work and the business side to really get to the root cause. And guys, it's not about not believing in yourself and your business. It's about whatever caused it initially. And sometimes there's 4 levels of beliefs. There's core beliefs, there's level, or at least that's what I believe in the modality that I practice, that you learned in this lifetime. So what your parents instilled you. And then there's society beliefs. What does society believe to be true? Like, for example, after 9/11, there was a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear in this world, right? Is it your belief or is it society's belief? And how much of it is actually yours? Right? Are you actually afraid, or do you think you are because you're part of the society? Then there's genetic beliefs, things that are passed down from your grandparents and 7 generations back. And that stuff actually is real, right? Like grandparents that wanting to save all their money because they're afraid to be robbed. Those things sometimes get passed down. And even like people go, well, oh, that my grandparents had that, right? And you start to kind of dig into that. And then there's the soul beliefs. So that really is about clearing the 4 levels and replacing it with something better. Because if you just pull stuff, and what's going to happen, it's kind of like taking a glass of water and emptying it out, right? And then you're empty, right? And people can feel really lopsided and unbalanced. So you have to replace it with something. And you really what you want to do is just clean out the water so that you're as clear as possible moving forward. And what I mean about becoming, it's about choosing who you want to be and then making sure that your belief system is aligned with that. It's about becoming that person. And that's the difference between just straight releasing and becoming. You release and you replace to become who you need to be. But just straight releasing and release, now I'm confused in all my words. Releasing and replacing isn't necessarily going to allow you to become if you haven't chosen who you need to be, and so that you can act in that way.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. She has a follow-up comment that I'll get to in a minute. But one of the things that we work on when I'm with my one-on-one clients is the very same as you just described. It's all well and good. We can release. But the person that you want to become, what does she believe? How does she walk? How does she talk? How does she enter a room? What does she wear? How does she speak to other people? How does she show up? How does she talk about her skills and expertise? What does she make? And what do you need to believe for all that to apply to you?
I missed that somewhere along the way. And here's the funny thing. And you want to know the funny thing? I hired Becky. She was a business coach at the time. And I was like, I know all about mindset. Like, I knew you did mindset, right? But I wasn't hearing what you were saying. Like, I would hear tidbits, but until I was open, like, I didn't hear it. Like, I'm sure you told me, go, who do you need to be? And I went, yeah, I don't need that, right?
And again, some people need to be safe in strategy for a while until they're ready, but you had a firm foundation.
Yeah.
And you paid for that foundation. So you weren't going to disregard it as nothing. It was very valuable to you.
Yeah. And I'm super glad I did that. It's everything that I've done in my business, even the one investment that I made from a place of fear and that I got $0 back from is a learning experience.
Sure. Everything.
Right? I saw someone yesterday in another group that I'm in, and he was complaining that he didn't get any of the results from the program that we're in at the moment. And he was kind of like harshing about that. And I'm like, so I reached out to him and I'm like, so what do you want to see happen now? Right? Like, you can't necessarily go back and change the results that you got, but you can move forward, right? You can choose a new destination. Who do you want to be? How do you want to react? And how do you, like, what do you go from here? Do you want to reuse the information? Do you want to create something else? How do you adapt it to you?
You decide what something means. Yeah. You decide how you want to interpret it. And if you want to tell yourself that it was useless and a waste of money and turn your self-love dial down and therefore turn your manifesting and your money ability down, that's a choice that's available to you. We all have free will.
Yeah.
Or you can decide that you were in the right place at the right time and needed to be here because there was something here that was necessary for you to learn, whatever that was. And you can use that as a building block for what's next. It's mindset.
It's total mindset. So that's kind of what those 4 mistakes are. And what was I going to say there? Yeah, that's it.
Rhonda, follow up very briefly. Looking at it from a brain science perspective, I can't wait to answer this question. She says you can't undo a belief, the whole neurons that fire together, wire together law. What bullshit is that? Rather, you need
do you want to go talk to theta healing people and see how they get instant miracles happening?
She says, rather, you need to wire in new beliefs and practice and condition them to replace their old shit. Now, Rana is one of my one-on-one clients. If you actually believed that, then you would never get a single benefit from any hypnotherapy, rapid transformational therapy session we've ever done. And since I already know that you got instant results from those, I'm calling bullshit on that entire comment. It isn't about practice. It isn't about repetition. It's about choosing what you believe, going directly to the subconscious, fixing the messaging, and moving the fuck on. Natalie's nodding. Wait, Rhonda's got more for me. Wait, this is funny.
She just called bullshit on someone. I'm like, what's going to happen now?
Rhonda says intense emotion exception. I'm not sure if that means when you have an intense emotional exception, it changes immediately or it doesn't change. I'm not sure what she means.
Well, actually, that could be true, right? Because when you have an intense emotional reaction to something, the belief can be changed instantly without you having to go into hypnosis or theta healing or some other form of modality. Because you'll be like, this is, it's about clarity, right? Like you get to that point, but the rest of the time, you just want to raise your vibration and change them, which is what you and I are doing.
The brain learns best one of two ways: intense emotional experience or repetition.
Yeah.
And what she seemed to be saying in the first comment was you can't undo a belief without repetition. But then she immediately said intense emotion exception.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, we're all on the same page here.
Yeah. And also, you can change all of the beliefs that you want in the world. You still have to take action to change things.
Yes.
Just so we're clear on that one. You know, when I took theta healing, my intuitive anatomy class, it's a 3-week class, and it's mind-boggling. Like you go through for 3 weeks and you're clearing all these beliefs at different organs and different systems, and you cry every day, but eventually you get to a point where it's a little easier. But at the end of the day, you still need to make a choice about how you're going to be and what happens when you get triggered with something. Do you want to have that reaction to that old trigger, or do you want to say, hey, you know what, that's part of the past and I'm going to choose something new?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I always choose discomfort. That's just me personally. Discomfort gets you closer to your goal than anything else.
I like that. I choose discomfort. All right. Are there any other questions or?
I don't see anything here.
All right. You want me to talk about my invitation?
Duh. Yeah.
All right. So here's the deal. Right? I had a little bit of an inspired idea like a few weeks ago, and it's called Creating Money Miracles. And I was sitting in the park and I asked my guides for guidance, and I heard Creating Money Miracles, and I went, I cannot do that. And guess what, guys? I created this 90-day program to help you guys create money miracles. And for me, a money miracle is when the taps turned on and things get easier. And it's about becoming that mindset that you need to be in and live so that you can experience those money miracles. And they're available to all of us. It doesn't have to be such a struggle. And it's so much easier. So it's 90 days. There is a link, right? You are an affiliate. Is it okay if I say that?
Of course.
right? So Becky is an affiliate. So if you click the link above, it'll go over to the sales page. Is it the perfect sales page? I don't think so. It's pretty good, right? But go through it. There is a button where you can apply for a call with me, and we just get on the phone and we talk. And I can tell you that the next 5 people, the rate goes up after 5 people. So you probably want to get on it right now.
I'm looking at your page. It looks really good, actually.
Yeah, it came from the heart.
Looks really good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I only, and my people know this, I'm only an affiliate for somebody that I've worked with myself, whose mission I believe in, who I know knows her shit. And that's why Natalie is here.
Yeah. Do you know, can I share my mission? I don't think I've done that.
Yes, please.
So you know how I found my purpose?
How?
I don't know if you know this. I was in a workshop, a healing workshop. The guy's from Vermont. He does sound healing. And he's singing and he's doing his sound music thing, and it's all very very profound, and it sounds very native as well, right? It's like the whole room shaking, the vibration is there, and there's like 40 people in the room. And at one point he starts talking and he says, "What is your purpose?" So I stand up and I go, "My purpose is to help others find their godliness if they so desire."
Oh my God, that's crazy.
And he's like, "I think that was rhetorical." And he's like, "That's nice." And he keeps going. But that is my mission. And the reason I work with entrepreneurs is very simple. I think that we're all here to change the world's vibration, to really raise it and to go to the next level. And everything that's happening in the world, good or bad, it's here to take us to the next step. And I firmly believe that we can't get there without all of these coaches, without all of this structure that we're putting in place. And money is such a stronghold on so many people. If we can just get that out of the way and get to the abundant portion, the change and the impact that we're going to have around the world is going to be like mind-boggling.
I tell everybody all the time in this group, we have a little green piece of paper with its fingers around our throat, and it's ridiculous. But I agree. I mean, whoever it was, I believe Gandhi said the Western woman was going to heal the world. This is how, because it's got nothing to do with money. It's how you feel about who you are, because when you feel good, you do good and you make other people feel good. And what does that do collectively? Raises the vibration, increases the frequency. All of us are elevated together.
You know, people say, actually the sound healer said, it's not about the world becoming, how do you say it? It's not about evolving into a technology society. It's about changing the vibration of our world.
Amen, sister.
And that is what we're doing. And, you know, theta healing has this concept, and I don't know if other modalities have it, but it's kind of cool. So it says that we come from the 5th plane, and the ascended masters sent their children, they sent themselves to be reborn to change the world. And that started around 1994. And the idea is that you came here, you were born, you had this belief that you were here to do something, right? I know people have had that. Like, people go, "Really? You've had that?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." And so all of these other people, that they were here to do something. The problem was that they had to remember what they were supposed to do. And that's the bitch of it all. But you know what? That's kind of like, it's about free will. It's about expansion. And it's kind of like the game of it all. And you'll know if you're on your path, if you're having fun, if you're enjoying the process. And I'm not saying like effortless and like you do nothing to get there. I'm saying that that you're on the right path and that it's not always a struggle. If things are always a struggle, it's because you're off your path a little bit. And sometimes it's not so much that you're off your path completely. You're just a lane or two over, and you just need to bring yourself back. Mm-hmm. And if you listen to your inner being and that place of where are you supposed to be, you already know. You already know if you're supposed to work with me or supposed to work with Becky or another program. You already know. And you have to decide for yourself what you do. But you know what? The longer you wait, you're still going to end up doing it. So I said, do it right away. And you know, it's funny because people will say, "Oh, I don't have the money," or "It's expensive." And you know, guys, it's funny because when I said that for so long about I can't travel, right? I said I would never spend $35,000, which is what I did with Becky, on a coach. I said I would never do that. But the day that I met Becky, I was like, my decision was already made. I released some resistance. It wasn't a problem, right? Like, I'm lucky that way, I have to say, right? Like, I did really well for myself. But in my business, I kept saying, I don't have the money to travel. I don't. Like, you know? And you know how many places I've been to since I started my business? I've been to Mexico, I've been to Montana, I've been to Miami. And then in March, I hit a wall. I was like, I have to do something. And I did things that I said I would never do. I got a refund back for a training that I knew I wasn't going to finish. And I would, instead of feeling embarrassed, I was like, I'm just taking care of me. I've used my points. And I bought two plane tickets, one to London and one to BC. 24 hours. All I did was go, I'm making a decision to make this happen. And then I looked for solutions.
Love it.
And it's, if you already know, make a decision and then look for the solutions, because I can guarantee you that the solutions are there, period.
They're always there. You're in the driver's seat if you choose to be.
Yeah. It's kind of cool.
It may be uncomfortable, but if comfortable worked, you would already have the result that you want.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe you're going to have to do something that you don't want to do, right? Like maybe it's, maybe you're going to have to sell your house or your car, or, you know, I remember Becky saying how she got the money for her first coach and she had a yard sale. Like she was decided that this was going to happen. Was she scared? I bet you were scared. Was it comfortable to do a yard sale? Probably not.
This is really fascinating because at that time, this is so long ago, I was married to Mark, who we're divorced, but you know, we're still best friends. He lives up the street, actually. I see him every day. I was married to Mark, who has a very different money mindset. That man can have $100 grand in the bank and cry poverty and be in terror because it's just his MO, and no criticism or judgment. It's just different than mine. So money was always tight no matter what. We could never dip into savings no matter what. You would never use a credit card no matter what. So if I was going to hire a coach, I really needed to do it not only on my own, but on the down low. Like, because he was out there counting the money with the yard sale, you know? So yeah, it was fucking terrifying. And in that space, I felt powerless and I felt embarrassed that I wasn't making more money and all kinds of less than feelings that came up. But I did a yard sale. I sold old jewelry that I had no emotional attachment to. And side note, never sell jewelry unless you look at the piece and say, would I sell this if I had $100,000 in the bank? If the answer is yes, then sell it, which I did. And then at the last minute, I was $1,800 short and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I got an email from PayPal out of nowhere that said, hey, we just started this new program called PayPal Working Capital. You're pre-qualified for $1,800. Yeah.
Thank you, universe.
Thank you, universe. And I was like, there it is.
That's all you needed. And, you know, like you lean into it and you'll be surprised. You know, I have a friend who's in a relationship and, you know, it's about being able to do the action, because if she really wants a relationship, she has to show up and be able to speak her truth. But the more she speaks her truth, the more in she goes, right? But now he has a response, but now they have a real chance of making something work.
Absolutely.
Right? Because you're going in and the universe hears that and the universe will go, okay, right? And it'll stop testing you, but it'll like, it'll send you stuff. I love it.
It's
all right. So, all right. So guys, if you want to know more, just go up and like, let's chat.
Click the link, talk to Natalie. She'll change your life. Jean says, some remember their purpose so clearly and others are asleep to their purpose. Well, I think we're taught to be asleep. One of the things that my kids always tell me when they're mad at me, I didn't ask to be born. I say, oh, yes, you did. You just don't remember. You're here for a reason. You just don't.
And you chose me.
Right. That's right.
And they're like, I did not choose you.
You picked me, dumbass. Emma says, I always love that story. What's the link again? Emma, the link is actually right above the live stream. It says, click here to access the Creating Money Miracles page. Go right to that page and check that out. And if you want to receive a replay of this recording, there's a separate link above that that says, click here to register for the replay.
Yeah. And it's basically, I'm going to take this video and stick it on YouTube and shoot it out. And I wish I had the audio version, but I forgot to click record. So.
Oh, they don't care.
This is a good video. I think people will. This is an awesome. I love this stream. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my God, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited that you came.
I can't believe how much I shared about me. It's so much fun.
It is fun, isn't it?
I find it so much more empowering.
It really is. And it says to people in a way that isn't, hey, work with me, I'm awesome. It says, I get you, I was you, I can help you because I know what it feels like. I know where you've been. And people connect with that. they see you as a real person. They see you as somebody who cares, you know?
And if there's somebody listening right now and they're doubting and they're not sure, so listen, I'm going to say this to you guys and I'm going to look right at you, right? Everything that you desire is possible. Just start with the next step. And you may not have thousands of dollars to invest in somebody. You may not you may not have everything that it looks around you, but it starts with you making that decision about what comes next. Don't go 10 steps ahead. Go with the next freaking step and take that step, even if it's tiny, and then take another and another and another. And guess what, guys? That's all that's all we've ever done, right? Is all we've done is said, okay, now it's next. I couldn't have started 2.5 years ago with where I am because I wasn't there. Right? Like I wasn't in that mindset. I wasn't who I needed to be to even step up to the next step. Right? And 2 years from now, you'll talk to me and I'll be in a totally different space. Right? Or 6 months from now. Every moment leads into the next, right? So everything is always changing.
Always. The only constant. And that's the point, isn't it? I mean, I put something actually on my timeline today. If today looks like yesterday, you're doing something wrong.
Yep. And yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery.
Ha! I like that one.
That comes from a psychic locally, actually.
People are actually, I think it comes from a Beatles song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll have to look it up. But
I did not know that.
People are already commenting that they're getting on your schedule. Erica says, what's next? Erica, there is a link right above this live stream that says, click here to access the Creating Money Miracles page. Click that page, book yourself a conversation with Natalie that'll blow your mind and change your life. Nancy's in, Jean's in.
Woo-hoo.
See?
Okay.
Yeah, Beth says, yeah, it's a Beatles song.
Okay, so do you want to know one thing about me?
Yeah.
I know nothing about music.
Oh, that's okay. We love you.
I can sing, I can play, I can read music. I really like it. I can't remember words from songs. They just garble up like I don't.
I can't sing or play a single instrument, but I can give you almost any Beatles lyric there is because I love them like a fucking obsession.
Adila Marcy, right? He can quote anything.
Yeah, he just rattles it off.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, how is he doing that?
He's a genius.
I'm a genius, just not in that way.
He's the master of words, Yeah. Copywriter and shit. Okay, guys,
right.
I hope that you enjoyed this conversation. I did thoroughly. Thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom. We needed it.
Thank you so much, guys.
Oh my God, we love you. Make sure that you guys click the links that are just above this live stream. Get yourself in and have a conversation with Natalie. It's powerful work and she's really fucking good at what she does.
Thank you. Namaste. Have a good day, guys.
Love you. Talk to you soon.
All right. Let me go end the live stream.